Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha with the midday news. The headlines. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to announce the fourth tranche of 20 lakh crore rupees economic package at 4 p.m. Essential Commodities Act to be amended to enable better price realization for farmers. Second phase of Vande Bharat mission starts from today. Indians from 31 countries to be brought back till 22nd May. In Jammu and Kashmir, top terror associate of Lashkar-e-Taiba Zahoor Wani arrested in a joint operation at Budgam. President, Vice President and Prime Minister express grief at the UP truck accident killing 24 migrant workers. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will address a press conference in New Delhi today at 4 p.m. The Finance Minister has already announced several measures in the last 3 days to boost the economy and bring relief to the people facing hardship due to coronavirus outbreak in the country. In her first tranche, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman had announced measures for relief and credit support related to businesses, especially micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, to support the Indian economy's fight against COVID-19. In her second tranche, Ms. Sitharaman had announced short-term and long-term measures for supporting the poor, including migrants, farmers, tiny businesses and street vendors. She had also announced that the government will launch a scheme for migrant workers and urban poor to provide ease of living at affordable rent. Yesterday, the Finance Minister announced the third tranche of 1.63 lakh crore rupee package for agriculture and allied sectors. It aims at strengthening infrastructure, logistics and capacity building at Farm Gate. Ms. Sitharaman announced a 1 lakh crore rupee agri-infrastructure fund that will finance projects at Farm Gate and Aggregation Point for efficient post-harvest management of crops.
We provide 1 lakh crore for aggregators, FPOs, primary agriculture cooperative societies, farmer-producer organizations which I mentioned, FPOs, all for strengthening the Farm Gate infrastructure. Our cold chains, post-harvest management infrastructure, storage centers, yards from where they have to do it. So this fund being created.
Schemes for micro-food enterprises, cattle vaccination, dairy sector, herbal plantation, beekeeping and fruits and vegetables were also announced. Ms. Sitharaman informed that the fund will be created at the earliest. The Finance Minister said that lack of adequate cold chain facilities and post-harvest management infrastructure in the vicinity of farm gates is causing gaps in the value chain. She announced a 10,000 crore rupee fund for formalization of micro-food enterprises, MFEs. It will support 2 lakh MFEs for promoting health and wellness, herbal, organic and nutritional products. The Finance Minister also announced amendment to the Essential Commodities Act to enable better price realization for farmers. The amendment will largely be towards deregulating certain crops like potatoes, cereals and onions. No stock limit shall apply for food processing units, value-added corporations and exporters. The government will also launch a 20,000 crore rupee Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana for the development of marine and inland fisheries. Of this, 11,000 crore rupees will be earmarked for activities in marine, inland fisheries and aquaculture and 9,000 crore rupee for infrastructure creation such as fishing harbours, cold chain and markets. This will provide employment to over 55 lakh people and double exports to 1 lakh crore rupees. Ms. Sitharaman said the ongoing National Animal Disease Control Programme for foot and mouth disease and brucellosis will look at 100% vaccination of cattle, buffalo, sheep, goats and pigs against foot and mouth disease at an outlay of 13,343 crore rupees.
In order that we ensure 100% vaccination of all cattle, all buffalo, all sheep, all goat and pig population, nearly 53 crore animals. India is one of the largest livestock bearing countries. FMD has to be eradicated.
In addition to this, a 15,000 crore rupee animal husbandry infrastructure development fund was announced. The government has also launched a 4,000 crore rupee fund to promote herbal cultivation in about 10 lakh hectares of area. The scheme will help generate 5,000 crore rupees income for farmers. The minister said along the bank of the Ganga, a corridor of medicinal plants will be developed over 800 hectares area. Another 500 crore rupees has been earmarked for beekeeping initiatives, helping 2 lakh beekeepers. The government extended Operation Greens from tomato, onion and potato to all fruits and vegetables by providing an additional fund of 500 crore rupees.
Dr. Ashok Dalwai, CEO of the National Rainfed Area Authority, has welcomed the central government's move to allow private APMCs, agriculture produce market committees. He said that this will promote competition between private and government APMCs, fetch better prices to farmers and help double their income. Speaking to our correspondent, Dr. Dalwai, who headed the high-level committee on doubling farmers' income, said that competition between private and government APMCs will benefit farmers.
Government of India has now announced this is a part of the package to bring intra-state and interstate trade, which means that the farmers will be able to directly sell their agriculture produce outside the APMCs from anywhere to anywhere in the country. Both public sector and private sector APMCs can be set up, and there will be competition between the two. This will help the farmers go to any market where they think they can get a better services and better prices. So there will be also competition between APMCs and direct trade. All this to the advantage of our farmers. They'll get better prices and better incomes and therefore improve their livelihood.
In Gujarat, the dairy sector has welcomed the package announced for the animal husbandry sector during the lockdown. The country's largest dairy brand, Amul, said the financial outlay for dairy infrastructure would help add about 5 crore litres extra milk processing capacity in the country. A report.
The Managing Director of Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation, R.S. Sodhi, lauded the announcement of Dairy Infrastructure Fund. He said with this fund, around 4 to 5 crore litres of extra capacities can be built in the country, which will help create more jobs in rural India. Mr. Sodhi said when people are migrating to villages during the lockdown, it is very important to create new jobs there.
This 15,000 crore infrastructure fund, I think we can build around 4 to 5 crore litres extra capacity. Extra capacity in organized sector means more jobs, more livelihood, especially in the rural India. So for this 5 crore litres, approximately 30 lakhs extra jobs, source of livelihood will be provided in the rural India. This is required today, especially when lakhs of people are migrating to the rural India from the urban sector. And animal husbandry is such thing which you can have without land also. Landless labor can also go for milk production by keeping cows and beef.
Mr. Sodhi also appreciated the fund for small entrepreneurs in food sector. Aparna Khun, AR News, Ahmedabad.
Industry body FICCI and ASSOCHAM have welcomed the third tranche of economic package for the agriculture sector. FICCI President Dr. Sangeeta Reddy said the spate of governance reforms announced by the government will finally unshackle Indian agriculture. She said the Essential Commodities Act had outlived its utility, and by bringing a change in this, the government has ensured that investments in the agri-value chain will get a boost. Additionally, the announcement on introducing a central law to free up inter- and intrastate trade of agri-products will help farmers in getting a better price for their produce. ASSOCHAM Secretary General Mr. Deepak Sood said farmers' package is a twin track of reforms and relief. He said promotion of beekeeping will contribute to empowerment of micro-farming units, especially the women in the hilly regions.
The centre has asked states to ensure that migrant workers don't have to walk back home, as the Government of India is running buses and over 100 Shramik special trains daily to facilitate their journey. Home Secretary Mr. Ajay Bhalla has written to the Chief Secretaries of States that people need to be made aware about these arrangements and counselled by states to not travel on foot. He said states should ensure that such workers are taken to nearby shelters and provided food and water till they board buses or trains. The Home Secretary said the railways will run more special trains for the purpose as per requirement. Railway Minister Mr. Piyush Goyal said that 1,034 Shramik special trains have been run to bring back workers home. In a tweet, Mr. Goyal said 106 trains were operated yesterday. He said Uttar Pradesh and Bihar have taken rapid steps in this direction, and about 80% trains are run by these two states.
The Pan-India Electronic Agriculture Trading Portal eNAM has reached the milestone of 1,000 mandis across 18 states and 3 union territories. The Agriculture Ministry said 38 additional mandis were integrated with the eNAM platform yesterday. The 38 new mandis include 19 from Madhya Pradesh, 10 mandis from Telangana, 4 from Maharashtra, 1 each in Gujarat, Haryana, Punjab, Kerala and Jammu and Kashmir. The second phase of Vande Bharat mission to bring back stranded and distressed citizens to India in the time of the pandemic begins today and will continue till the 22nd of this month. In this phase, Indians from 31 countries will be brought back. Till now, over 1,88,000 Indian nationals have registered for return on the portal. At least 39 flights have been scheduled from the Gulf countries in this second phase. 11 flights have been scheduled from the United Arab Emirates. Our Dubai correspondent reports that 177 distressed Indians will be brought back in Dubai to Kochi flight today. More than 100 women and medical emergency cases have been given priority, along with distressed workers. The Consul General at Indian Consulate in Dubai, Vipul, said that care has been taken to accommodate women in advanced stages of pregnancy, medical cases and other distressed Indians. He said that more flights will be arranged in the coming days to send back distressed Indians.
And today we have this flight to Kochi, in which there are lots of distressed people who are there. We have 75 pregnant ladies who are going on this flight. There was a lot of pressure, pregnant ladies who wanted to go back, so we thought that we should accommodate as much as possible in this particular flight. We also have flights coming on this week, total 11 flights that will be going this week from here to India, and we will try and accommodate as many distressed people as possible. For other parts of India, there are flights, and there will be a lot of focus on workers who can go in these flights. Overall, last week in the first phase we sent about 2,000 people from here.
The first phase saw the repatriation of nearly 5,000 distressed Indians from the Gulf countries in 29 flights. Now we have more from our Thiruvananthapuram correspondent.
The first flight to arrive is from Dubai, carrying nearly 177 passengers, which is scheduled to land in Kochi International Airport by today evening. The flight from Abu Dhabi, carrying nearly 187 passengers, will be reaching Kozhikode by 11:30 p.m. tonight. The third flight is also from Abu Dhabi, scheduled to arrive in Thiruvananthapuram today at 10:40 p.m. All the three airports are fully prepared for medical screening and transfer of passengers to quarantine centers. Meanwhile, as the COVID cases are on a rise in Kerala lately, with more returnees turning positive, the surveillance across the state boundary is intensified. The worst hit Wayanad district is in high alert. Presently, 80 active COVID-19 cases are there in the state. As Kerala faces the unprecedented financial crisis in its history amid COVID-19, the state finance minister Thomas Isaac said that cutting on expenditure and stringent financial planning will be done, along with requesting Centre to enhance the credit limit to the state to tide over the crisis. Mayusha for AR News from Thiruvananthapuram.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to announce the fourth tranche of 20 lakh crore rupees economic package at 4 p.m. Essential Commodities Act to be amended to enable better price realization for farmers. Second phase of the Vande Bharat mission starts from today. Indians from 31 countries to be brought back till the 22nd of May. In Jammu and Kashmir, top terror associate of the Lashkar-e-Toiba, Zahur Vani, arrested in a joint operation at Budgaon. President, Vice President and Prime Minister expressed grief at the UP truck accident killing 24 migrant workers. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
The Health and Family Welfare Ministry today said a total of 30,153 patients have been cured of coronavirus and the recovery rate has reached 35.08% in the country. During the last 24 hours, 2,233 patients have recovered and 3,970 fresh cases of COVID-19 have been reported, taking the total number of cases to 85,940. A total 103 deaths have been registered during the last 24 hours, taking the nationwide toll to 2,752. The Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR, has said that a total 94,325 samples have been tested for COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. The total number of tests reached 21,34,277 in the country. Meanwhile, ICMR is continuously scaling up its testing facilities for COVID-19 by giving approval to government and private laboratories. As of now, 362 government laboratories and 149 private laboratory chains have been given approval to conduct the test for COVID-19.
In Chennai, the city's civic body has begun distributing 50 lakh free masks to all those living in dense pockets to ensure safety protocols. Every person in crowded regions will be given 2 reusable masks each to prevent the regions from serving as COVID-19 hotspots. Immunity-boosting Siddha formulations have also been given to people in select pockets for 10 days continuously, where the disease prevalence is high. Meanwhile, in Tamil Nadu, the total number of COVID-19 infected cases has crossed the 10,000 mark, with 434 people confirmed with the infection yesterday. The Maharashtra state government is leaving no stone unturned in containing the global pandemic. Efforts are on to fight the situation. Following Ayush Ministry's guidelines that homeopathic medicines could be effective in the prevention of novel coronavirus infections, many areas in Mumbai and Pune are being administered the immunity booster medicine Arcircin Album 30. Considering the high number of patients, state government has constituted 2 committees for better coordination. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
Maharashtra state government has set up 2 committees to coordinate with government as well as private hospitals regarding coronavirus infection and treatment. These committees will inform all the concerned about the decisions taken at government level regarding disease control and treatment. They will also look after the social security of health workers. These committees will be set up at the state and district level. Chief Secretary of the state will lead the state level committee and collector will lead the district level committee. On the other hand, Labour Bureau has been activated in Maharashtra to help the industries find workers to replace migrants who have chosen to go back home. About 38,000 industries have resumed operations in the state so far. Madhuri Pange, AIR News, Mumbai.
In our series Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you views of leading medical experts on COVID-19. Head of Respiratory Care Department in the National Institute of Tuberculosis and Respiratory Diseases, Dr. Rajneesh Gupta, said that everybody should stay at home during the lockdown period to stay safe, and special care should be taken of senior citizens.
जो भी उनकी मेडिकल इलनेसेस हैं, कोमॉर्बिडिटीज हैं, उनको हाइपरटेंशन है, जिनको शुगर की प्रॉब्लम है, दे शुड टेक देयर यूजुअल मेडिकेशंस, दे शुड स्टे एट होम. स्पेशली जो उनके अटेंडेंस हैं, उनको ये ध्यान रखना है कि दे शुड स्टे एट होम और उनको बाहर नहीं जाना है.
Head of Geriatrics Department in All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIIMS, Dr. A.B. Day, said COVID-19 pandemic has affected senior citizens adversely and they should follow all necessary precautions like staying at home, wearing masks and frequently washing hands. He said they should remain positive and all their medications for the existing diseases should be continued in the same dose.
कोविड-19 से बुजुर्गों को ज्यादा खतरा महसूस हो रहा है, इसलिए जरूरी है कि आप घर में रहें, अपना हाथ बार बार धोते रहें, मास्क का इस्तेमाल करें. जिन लोगों को बीमारी है, जो लगता है आपको कि उनको कोविड हो सकता है, उनसे दूर रहें. अपने दवाइयां खाते रहें जो आप पहले ले रहे थे. खाने में जो आप रोज खाते हैं वही खाएं और दिन भर कुछ ना कुछ करते रहें, मोबाइल रहें, चलते फिरते रहें, बिल्कुल पेड़ पाउंड ना हो जाएं. घर में रहें, ये दौर भी गुजर जाएगा.
The News Services Division of All India Radio, in its bilingual live phone-in program today, will bring you a special discussion program on COVID-19. Listeners can ask questions to experts on toll-free telephone number 1800-115-767. One can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444 and post queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by #AskAIR. This can be heard tonight on the FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:25 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You can also follow us on the News on AIR app for updates.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Budgam Police 53 RR and 153 Battalion CRPF during a joint search operation yesterday evening arrested one top terror associate of Lashkar-e-Taiba LET, namely Zahur Wani from Wani Mohalla Arizal in Budgam district. On his disclosure, a hideout was also discovered which was used by terrorists to take shelter. From the hideout, various incriminating material, arms and ammunition were recovered. Senior Superintendent of Police Budgam, Amod Ashok Nagpuri, said that during further investigation, 4 other terror associates, all residents of Khan Sahib, were also arrested. They were involved in providing logistic support and shelter to LET terrorists. This group was active in the area for the last few months. A case under relevant provisions of law has been registered in Police Station Khan Sahib. An investigation in the matter has been initiated. CBSE will release the date sheet for the remaining CBSE board examination for Class 10th and 12th today at 5 p.m. CBSE had earlier announced that it will conduct the remaining Class 10th and 12th board examinations from the 1st to the 15th of July, which were postponed due to the COVID-19-induced lockdown.
In Uttar Pradesh, 24 migrant workers have lost their lives when a truck carrying them was hit by another on National Highway in Auraiya district earlier this morning. All were migrant labourers who were going to Gorakhpur from Faridabad. The incident took place around 3:30 a.m. near Miholi village in Sadar Kotwali area of Auraiya district. District Magistrate Mr. Abhishek Singh told AIR News that 81 migrant workers were travelling in the truck. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have expressed grief at the accident. In a tweet, Mr. Kovind said all necessary steps are being taken by the local administration to help the affected people. He expressed his condolences to the bereaved families and wished early recovery for the injured. Mr. Modi said the incident is very tragic and the government is engaged in relief work. Prime Minister wished early recovery for the injured. Home Minister Amit Shah has termed the road accident in Uttar Pradesh as a tragic incident. In a tweet, Mr. Shah said the state government started quick relief work and provided every possible help to the injured. BJP President Mr. J.P. Nadda has also expressed grief over the tragic accident. Congress leader Mr. Rahul Gandhi has expressed grief at the loss of lives in the road accident at Auraiya in Uttar Pradesh. In a tweet, Mr. Gandhi expressed condolences to the families of the deceased. He wished for the speedy recovery of those injured.
Meanwhile, Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh Yogi Adityanath has directed all district magistrates in the state to stop those trucks and vehicles transporting migrant labourers immediately and seize them after filing case against them. Taking strong action in the incident, Chief Minister has ordered for suspension of 2 SHOs in the case of the Auraiya accident. These are SHO Fatehpur Sikri in Agra and SHO Kosi Kalan in Mathura, both in charge of border areas. Along with issuing warning, explanation has been sought from ASPs and SSPs of Agra and Mathura for the Auraiya accident. Explanation has been sought from senior police officers of Agra zone also. More from our correspondent.
District magistrates across the state have been instructed to deboard migrant workers from the trucks, provide them food and make arrangements for their travel. 200 buses have been stationed at every border district on the disposal of DMs, which will be used for the transportation of such migrants. Chief Minister said that additional money has also been given for this purpose. Auraiya police has registered case against owners and drivers of both the trucks and seized them. Administration has also issued helpline numbers for the inquiry of the injured persons in the accident. These are 945-440, 2897, 941571, 4721 and 05683 249 660. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Mr. Hardeep Singh Puri today said the government has taken several steps so that the real estate sector survives the situation arising out of the COVID-19 situation. At a webinar with stakeholders celebrating the third RERA Day, Mr. Puri said the regulatory authorities need to play a crucial role to revive the sector so that it can thrive and contribute to the country's growth. The minister said COVID had a debilitating effect on the real estate sector, which has become a cause for project delays. The minister said that his ministry has issued advisory to all states and union territories and their regulatory authorities for issuance of orders to automatically extend the completion date.
The Ministry has issued necessary advisory to all states and union territories and their regulatory authorities for issuance of necessary orders and direction under the enabling provisions of RERA to automatically extend the completion date or revise extended completion date for all real estate projects registered under RERA for a period of 6 months, where completion date expires on or after 25th March this year.
The minister said the regulatory authorities may further extend this timeline for a period up to 3 months if the situation so demands.
Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan today interacted with over 1,500 Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana beneficiaries and gas distributors across the country through webinar. He said that PMUY has just completed 4 years of its successful journey, which has led to momentous improvement in the lives of over 8 crore poor and deprived families. The minister said NDA government announced Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, and one of the important components was providing free gas cylinders for 3 months to the PMUY beneficiaries. He said the money was transferred in advance in their accounts so that there was no difficulty in availing the facility. So far, over 6.28 crore PMUY beneficiaries have got the free cylinders. The minister said the time has now come to revive the economic activities and employment in the country. He expressed gratitude to the Prime Minister and Finance Minister for coming out with 20 lakh crore rupee package for supporting the economy in its fight against COVID-19.
Scientists at the CSIR Central Mechanical Engineering Research Institute, Durgapur, have developed 2 mobile indoor disinfection sprayer units to combat COVID-19. The Science and Technology Ministry said these sprayers are equipped with mopping features and extendable arms to reach hidden areas and clean comprehensively. These units, called battery-powered disinfectant sprayer and pneumatically operated mobile indoor disinfection, can be used for cleaning and disinfecting pathogenic microorganisms effectively, especially in hospitals.
Now let us take a look at the weather for today.
In the national capital, the minimum temperature will be 24 degrees Celsius while the maximum temperature is expected to be 39 degrees Celsius. Delhi is likely to witness strong surface winds during the daytime. Mumbai will be partially cloudy towards late afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature in the city will be 29 degrees Celsius while the maximum temperature will remain around 36 degrees Celsius. In South, Chennai experiences cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The temperature will hover between 29 degrees Celsius and 37 degrees Celsius. In the east, minimum temperature will settle around 27 degrees Celsius while maximum temperature will be 38 degrees Celsius. Weather Metropolis witnesses a partially cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. On to north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature today is expected to be 19 degrees Celsius in Jammu while maximum temperature will be around 36 degrees Celsius. The city has mainly clear sky. In Srinagar, the minimum temperature will be 11 degrees Celsius while maximum temperature will be 24 degrees Celsius. There is a possibility of rain with thunderstorm. Similar weather is expected in Gilgit. The temperature here hovers between 12 and 28 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, the minimum temperature will be 13 degrees Celsius and the maximum temperature will be 33 degrees Celsius. It may become cloudy towards evening or night. Diksha Saxena, News Desk.
Today is International Day of Living Together in Peace. In 2017, the United Nations declared this day to promote peace, tolerance, inclusion, understanding and solidarity across the world. President of the General Assembly, Tijani Muhammad Bande, in a message said that today the world is facing the most challenging crisis since the Second World War. COVID-19 poses a serious threat to maintenance of international peace and security, potentially leading to an increase in social unrest and violence. He has called for an immediate global ceasefire to work together on the actual fight, defeating the pandemic. Over 100 member states, diverse regional organizations, religious leaders and more than 200 civil society groups have endorsed this call. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to announce the 4th tranche of 20 lakh crore rupees economic package at 4 p.m. Essential Commodities Act to be amended to enable better price realization for farmers. Second phase of Vande Bharat mission starts from today. Indians from 31 countries to be brought back till 22nd May. In Jammu and Kashmir, top terror associate of Lashkar-e-Taiba Zahoor Wani arrested in a joint operation at Budgam. President, Vice President and Prime Minister expressed grief at the UP truck accident killing 24 migrant workers. And with that, we end the midday news.